Hey everybody, Jimbo here. Hey, before we get started on today's video, I want to announce the winner of the HTP Welder giveaway. Now I know that this was supposed to be done a month ago, but we actually had a hard time selecting the winner. We picked 10 finalists and reached out to them and nobody got back to us. And finally, on the 11th person, we have a winner. The winner is Kyle from Palm Desert, California. Congratulations, Kyle. Hope you enjoy your new HTP Arc 200 TLP. I want to thank HTP for promoting and providing the equipment for this giveaway, and all you guys that participated. We had over 2,000 participants. Unfortunately, there's only one winner. We got some good plans for 2020, good giveaways from all of our sponsors here on the channel, and we're going to have a much easier way to participate and a much easier way to win. So stay tuned for those details. Let's get back to today's video.
Welcome to Jimbo's Garage.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Jimbo's Garage. Well, in today's video, I've got a simple little do-it-yourself project. This is a fishing rod or fishing pole holder used to go in the ground near the shore and hold your fishing rod or fishing pole in place. A good friend of mine had brought this over and said that he likes the design, but it's just a little on the wimpy side, a little weak, a little flexible. I was just wondering if there's any way that I could make the same thing or close to it, but with a little bit more heavier duty. Well, nothing leaves the shop here at Jimbo's Garage unless it's heavy duty. So let's see if we can modify this slightly, make it a little bit more stronger, a little bit more efficient. Let's get started on today's project. Okay, so I've got 5 of these to actually make. Now I'm starting off with some 1/2-inch round hot roll bar stock. Now this is, I need 5 pieces that are about 48 inches long. That's the length that I'm going to be starting with. And right out of the chute, I've got a little bit of a problem. Okay, I made another mistake. Seems to be making a lot of those lately. I went to the metal supply store knowing that I needed to make 5 of these and at 4 feet long. And so 5 times 4 is 20 foot. So a 20-foot piece is what I purchased. But not thinking I had the metal supply store cut it in half. The 20 foot in half had 2 10s. So obviously that was a bad choice. I should have had them cut at 12 foot and 10 foot. So now I've got 4 4-footers and 2 2-foot pieces left over. Bad mistake. So anyways, I happen to have a piece of 1/2-inch solid round bar stock cold rolled. So we'll be able to get the 5th piece. Always think through your materials before you have them cut. All right, let's get this done. Yep, that's for sure. You know what? I just wasn't thinking. It just sometimes that happens. But nevertheless, we got our 5 pieces right here, and now I'm over at my vise. And what I'm going to do right here is I'm just taking the rosebud, and I'm in about, I want to say 4 inches, and I'm just putting a little bend on the top here. Nothing real critical. It's not quite a 45, maybe around 30 degrees or so. And like I said, it's not real critical what the bend is. The important thing is I just want to get all 5 of them, the same, whatever they are. This is just going to give a little bit of an angle when it goes in the ground, and it's going to give a little angle with the holder itself. It's going to be being able to hold the rod in a decent position. And that works pretty good, heating it up like that. The rosebud, there's all kinds of different ways of doing it, but I just happen to have it there. All right, so I'm over at the Burr King, and what I want to do right here is I'm just going to grind a flat spot on the top of all of these. Now, what my thinking is, I want a little bit flatter of a surface, so I have a little bit more contact when I weld the holder, the round tube on there itself. That was my thinking. You know what? Something that you don't have to do if you're making this by any means, but it's just as I was making this, it just something I thought about, and I just wanted to do it, and I want to do it because I can. And it worked out pretty good. it doesn't take too long. The old Burger King doesn't make, it makes short order of just grinding that down perfectly flat. And just like that, I've got the 5 pieces all ground down on the top part right there. All right, so the next step is to kind of get a little bit of a point on the ends of these things. I just moved the platen back into position, moved up the table, and I have something to work with right here. And I'm just twisting the rod in a little circular motion right there, and I'm just putting a little bit of a point. Nothing real sharp, just a little bit of a point to help it go on the ground a little bit easier. All right, so now I'm over to the next part, and we got some 1¼ inch angle iron. This is 1/8 of an inch in thickness, and I'm just cutting the 5 pieces I need, and I'm cutting them at 7.5 inches. Now, I don't know why I came up with 7.5 inches. It just proportionally looked right, and I think by doing that, it looked like I had just enough material here to get the 5 pieces I need, and it looks like there might have been a little bit left over, so it probably had a little bit to do with the 7.5 inches. All right, back over to the Burger King. Just deburred everything and ground everything down and rounded the edges here. And it works out pretty good. It's one of the best tools I have in the shop is Burger King. Before I had this, I had a little 4-inch Ryobi grinder that I used, and it worked, But, man, when you get some good tools, there's nothing like good quality tools to help the job go by a lot easier. Over my scrap bin right here, I'm pulling out as many pieces of 1.5 inch 095 round tubing as I can find. And that's what I'm going to be using. And I'm just hand sketching a little pattern on here and then cutting this out over at the porter band. Now, I got to say, I was a little sketchy cutting this thing out. I was a little nervous. Sometimes it doesn't go as well as it does right here, or it did right here. Bad things could happen, and trust me, I've had those experiences, but there's plenty of ways to do this. But you know what? I just did it right over here at the porter band, and I was able to get it done. They weren't exactly perfect. There was a couple of overcuts on them, but that's something that I can take care of a little bit later on here. All right, once I got that done, I'm back over the slugger, and I'm cutting them off to their length, which I believe is 6 inches. And that, again, not real critical. It's just allowing in enough room to slide the pole holder down in there and have the real seat right in front of it there. So 6 inches is the measurement that I came up with. I got all 5 of them done, and back over to the Burger King before I do some final grinding with the flap disc. Just kind of doing what I can at the Burger King here. All right, so back over to the vise, and I got my flap disc right here, my 4-inch grinder, and I'm kind of shaping things up a little bit. This one happened to be pretty good, but a couple of these have got some overcuts in them, and it took a little bit of work to get those things cleaned out. This is a handy little tool that I have. I use this for my rod holders a lot. It's a mini flap wheel. This happens to be a 1-inch size, and it fits good inside the tubing, and kind of gives some deburring on the inside there. That worked out pretty good for something like this. It's a lot better than using files, that's for sure. It's a lot quicker, faster, and easier. Just repeating the process right here. This is going pretty smoothly. You can see how that mini flap wheel gets in there and just really cleans the inside edges out on this. It's really a perfect tool for this. All right, here's one of those nasty edges I was telling you about. This one's going to take a little bit more grinding, but I ultimately get it, and I just stayed with it. And like I said, nothing's real critical here. I just wanted to get them, somewhat looking the same, and I was able to get that nasty burr out of there, at least enough. And clean everything up. You can just see that mini flap wheel is about done after that. There is not much left of that. It's more like an hourglass shape now. All right, I got all that done, and this is something I've been using a lot lately, is just using a sanding sponge. The flap wheel takes care of all this stuff real good, but some emery cloth or this sanding sponge right here works really good to polish things up. I bought a 12-pack of these things at Mercer Industries. They're fairly inexpensive, and I like the coarse on one side, medium on the other. they work really good for just polishing up the edges after you do some grinding with the flap disc. All right, we got all our components we need to start making this little project. So it's all about just trying to get everything to fit right. And here I've got, you can see that this is another reason why I hang on to all my wood drops. You see, I have all kinds of different sizes of these things. And this happens to be a couple of pieces, some 1/2-inch plywood. That's just what we needed here to get this thing where it needs to be in the middle of that tubing. And the goal here is, for me, at least I wanted to take my time and do a nice weld as I could, the nicest weld as I can anyway on this. This is a stack of dimes type of look. This is what I was going for. I'm sure that this might be a conversational piece to a couple of the people that these are going to, which I know who they're going to. And, I just want it to look good. I want it to look as good as I could make it. So I took my time and did the best job I could to put in a nice finish and a nice bead on this product. I just wanted it to look good. So that's one side, and then this is the other. Again, this is where that flat surface comes in. It gave me a little bit more welding room. If it was all round at the top, I wouldn't have that as much surface. But that laid in there pretty good, and that's ultimately what they all look like. Just using a small cursive or a small circular motion, not in a big hurry, just kind of letting that puddle stack up in there every time you just push it back in there, just trying to give it that stack of dimes look, I guess. So, all right, once we got all these welded up, and it's time to get on to the angle iron. But before we do, I just want to mention, you might see me using these pencils. This is the Prismacolor Premier. This is the PC 949. I get these on Amazon. I like these ones here. They got a really thick lead to them. They're about 1/8 of an inch in diameter, the lead. They last a long time. They stay sharp. They really mark the metal up really nice. They're pretty cool. So you can just see I'm finding the center of 7.5 inches, putting a little mark on there, and then I'm just welding these up about 12 inches up from the end. You can see it teetering a little bit there, so I need to get a couple washers in there to get it balanced out just right. All right, so I'm also using this little toggle clamp. Got this at clampplus.com. These guys, they got some pretty decent little clamps for stuff like this. It works out perfect, a little bit more. The clamp itself is heavy duty, but for holding down precise, smaller things, I find it works pretty good. Got a little adjustability at the top up there, and just enough to hold it in place. Small little detail. It's good. And then here it is, the same thing, just a stack of dimes type of slow motion, just to get this thing looking as nice as I can. This is a fun little project for you guys, a simple little do-it-yourself project if you're into fishing or know somebody that is. And this is something that just realistically, you can knock something like this out in about 30 minutes. Good little fun little project for a Sunday afternoon. Again, be sure and everything is nice and square, and just getting things tacked into place. What was important is, you might have seen me just moving that thing around, is I got to be sure that the bent part, the holder itself, was parallel and not crooked when I was welding this angle iron on. I just wanted it to be straight and square, so it took a little bit of time to eyeball it and get it just right. All right, just like that, we're down to the very last one right here, and I gotta say, it was a fun little project, making these things, and I know they're going to be put to good use. Again, it doesn't take very long to make something like this. Great little project. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video. Don't forget to check out my website at JIMBO'S.com. Follow us on Instagram and check us out on Facebook. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week.
See you next time on Jimbo's Garage.